okay on mobile. Uh, because we really put a lot of time on the mobile, so it's looking nice. And on the large stove, you can see it's not, even if I close this, the spacing is not that the way it's supposed to be. And what we need to do now is that instead of us just placing it here, because of the screen we're using to measure it that time, so it's not being placed correctly. So we need to make sure that the one that have these two is of the same size as this left side here. So anytime this left shifts, then you need to keep shifting the content, since we are going to be using percentage instead of just using rent, because it will not be depending on what is going on that left side. As you can see, it's small now. So this is supposed to come to the center. Even though we don't know, the design is not given to us for the tablet. So we know that it can't take this place. So what we can do is just to shift it towards the left side instead of it just covering the content. On the mobile, it's perfect, but on the other screen, it is nothing to write about. So like it's bad. So we need to make sure that it is okay. And if you look at it, the problem is the container that I use, for it, it did not cover up. As you can see, this is it. So the payment card wrapper. So this is where it is, and that's why it's moving like that. It's not related to what is on the left, even though it is inside that left section, but it did not use the layout to size itself. So what we need to do here is that you can see we are just using top 20 and right minus 50%. So all this that we are doing here, we need to disable them. We make sure that it's inside the experience itself. Then from there we can now shift it, because the spacing here, looking at the container. So there is a container. Inside the container we have this main, and the main is here, and we have this aside, which is taking the opposite side. We know that when you use zero of right, we know that it is here. This is the right, and this is the left of zero, this is the top of zero, and this is the bottom of zero. And if this thing change based on the screen, then we don't want to do anything with mobile. The mobile is okay, as you can see. So this is going to be the right now. This is going to be the new left, the top, and the bottom. So we just move it to the center on these tablets, and we can shift it to the right a little bit, like that. But on this screen, as you can see, we need to make sure that it is okay. And where is this coming from? It's coming from this. That's why it's good to give it like good name, because later on when you want to debug or you're looking for something, as you can see from the name, you already know where to go to just fix whatever you need to fix. But if you just call it maybe just a wrapper alone, which wrapper are you talking about? So, and as you can see here, it's not telling us where it's coming from, like that, because we are using module this in CSS. But assuming we use the global one, then it will show you the line where it's coming from. As you can see, just a styles. So which styles? It did not tell us which file is generating this thing there. Because when it's showing us the file, that one is even easier. You just quickly go there and modify the stuff. But it's not showing it because we use module CSS. So it will just copy everything into your the edge section of the stuff. So this way it will just copy everything here into the style. So that's what it did. And as you can see, it will copy whatever you do into there. And that's why it's saying it's style. So because it's coming from the top. So it's not linking to the file directly, which is what you can actually see from here. As you can see, for these styles, it have the ID. So whatever you type here, it will map it into the style, and it will take everything and put it inside there. But it will not show from here because CSS doesn't know about this dev ID, because it's not related to how the normal web work. So it's the dev environment or the tool what we're using is the one that is doing all this magic, and it's not connecting it to the CSS. So CSS doesn't know that this is the file where this thing is coming from. But it's just in style because it's in the style at the top already. Yeah, I like that. So we need to go into the file and fix this thing before we now create our store, so that anytime we fill anything from here, it will appear on the card. They are not together. So we need to have our context so that we can share the data around. And how do we get the data from here? Since we are using the React hook form, so it gives us this functionality we can use, that as you are typing, you keep getting the value, not until you submit that you see it. No, as you are typing the stuff, you keep seeing it here. So how do we extract the value out of this input as you are typing it? So we're going to see how to do all those things with the React hook form. But Before we do that, so let's fix this our layout because it's not looking nice at all, and make it look as if we are just playing. So I don't like it like that. So let's go into the payment card. So we're looking for the styles. So the payment card, which is this, but is the styles that we made, so which is going to be the styles modules. So the mobile is okay. We don't need to touch anything related to mobile. What we want to do is from this tablet upward. So as you can see, all this top left, right that I'm using here, they are wrong. For it to work based on the screen we used before, but now I don't want it to be in that way. And the reason it's not even showing correctly is because I've changed it from the browser. So reload the page. It should go back to the way it used to be for now. See that it's good. Not that time we are doing it, we not consider the content. No, we just see what area and we're just using at this paper. Now that the content is there, it's not looking nice to our content. So now that we have content, we need to make sure that it goes along with the content, not just the white area that we're working on there. So here we need to make sure this card itself, it cover up its parent. Let me give it back that color so that you see it. Or let me even leave it the way it is before, like give it back and you see where it is somewhere around this place. So background of red. So now as you can see where it is. So this is a container. But since we position all these on absolute two, they are just going outside and we do not so one is now not to be like that. Just cover up your parents. So and to cover up the parent, you can just use inset of zero. So which means the top, left, right, bottom, all of them you are setting them to zero at once. So that does the work of inset. As you can see now, it will cover up everything like quite enough food. So the eye should be 100% so that it can cover up everything. So let me disable this one too for now because as you can see, they are working based on the parent. So whatever you position the parent, that's where they're going to use to calculate the offset. But let me remove the offset right now so that we can focus on the parent. So now we have this parent which covered up his own side. So which means if this thing increase later on, as you can see, it will always follow that parent because it's depending on that side. So this is it here, and it's inside that side. So since it's inside that side and that side is position as relative, it will always use it to calculate offset. So once it will change to again to one of this one too to now be based on this red. So when the red change, this one too will change automatically based on the space that they have in the parent. So on the mobile, we don't need to do anything. It's perfect, but on the tablet, it is not okay. So we need to make sure that it looks nice too. So in order for it to look nice, we need to start moving all this one too. So we need to move it. So for example, here I can just say top should just be maybe around that 45% of its parent. So whatever the height is to just the top, we go to that 45. And I think 45 is too much because it's somewhere around this area. Let me bring the design. So when we get to that part, it's going to, come outside. But for now, we go with the one that we are working on. All this one here, there is no Figma. This one is just like a free copy. I know free copy, they will not give you everything. They just give you the part. So it's not left for you to complete everything. But those ones that I showed before, that no premium one, and even the one that is not premium, so they give you the files that you have it there like that. So what we're working on is the interactive card details form. So open the design. Almost all this one is just as you can see the way they move all the design. So they will not give you everything. The only thing you have access to is the desktop and the mobile. The tablet is not part of it. And this is what we want to have. And that's the problem because we don't know what is going on in between. So as soon as you don't know what is going on in between, then you do it according to your own, taste, and that's what we want to do on tablet. Since we don't have the design, what we want to do here is that this thing is going to be at the middle because there is no space here. The white space is really small, but when you're on a bigger screen, which is what the design is, as you can see, there is a lot of space, which is what you are given. There is 1440. But it's not always possible that everybody will always use the same screen. You make sure that the thing looks nice on all the screen below this, and above the mobile, which is around that 500 upward all the way to all this 1000 whatever stuff that we have there, because now we have a little space here. So let's go back into the tablets that we have. So we just need to move according to what we have. As you can see, this one is always at the top, which is from year to year should be around that maybe 30% or so, like that. Then this one will follow under it. And since we are using percentage, anytime this thing change, they will calculate the value. We've talked about this when we're dealing with. So yeah, let me just use like that 30%. What is moving is the top of the element, not the center. You go into the center, you have to offset it back or transform it back so that and it's not even like that. Let me use 10%. So which should 20 or 25%. And this is the advantage of that Figma design. So in Figma now, you just go there, you see the line, it will show you, once you click on this, it will show you the spacing between year to year. So from there, you can now put the value instead of doing all this guess work like that. So what do we want to do again? We want it to close to the left or the right side. So the right should be minus because I want it to go outside of the screen a little bit or outside of the box a little bit. So minus 16 pixels is not much like this because that's or let me just do no 10% is not going percentage is not going to appear like that. So not I mean remove this one because it's not moving. I'll come back into that one. So what do we need to do for this one? So for this one, we know that the top is here. The top of this one is here. So we want the top of this one to be somewhere here. This is 20%, so which means that it should be around that 50 or so. So it is not much like that. It is much. So let's use 35% because we don't want it to be too far and what you should be. Okay, for all this guesswork, as mean it's Figma now, you already see the stuff. You just put it inside your code straightforward instead of paying this plug and play of value. If you don't have the distance, so I think it's not 45 should be okay because it's a little bit like that. So we have this. This is what we have there. If I'm recording, right? So we have this item here, which is looking better than what we had before. That is now covering the items there. But I need to check something because it did not actually put my right the way I want it to. So the right is zero. If we use right of zero, it's supposed to go to the right of the parent there, but it is not covering up what we expecting. So let me see what is going on the browser. So I have this. Where is the value? So position absolute height weight. Where is the card? Okay. So we have this. So where is the div? The div is here where we have this insert. It's absolute, and this one too. It is absolute. Okay, it's having left to somewhere. So it's having left, and that's the reason why it's not moving. But it's dragging on the left and it's dragging on the right. So I don't want that left to be there. So if I don't want the left to be there, what I can just do is to use the left and move it. No, this is zero, this is 100%. So I can shift it to maybe like 105%. This is 100. We want it to go because one way of doing this thing is by removing the left that is there because this left is here. So which means the left will always be one area, either it did not go there. But you want it to be here, and you are saying it should be on the left too. What do you want me to do? So I have to stay in between. But what we can do here is that we remove this left. So if you remove the left, as you can see, it will move. Because now there's no left again. So you are controlling it by right. Or another way of doing it, instead of saying this right, just change the value of that left to like 100 or 1 because this is 100. And when you say left, it will be too much. Oh. So if you just say left 100%, means this left here now, it will come here. So which means this card too will cover up the entire stuff. Let me demonstrate it for you. So if you just say left here, 100%, as you can see, to move the left of the card, but it's too much. So maybe like 10%, just to or just say 20%. Just shift it a little bit because we don't want it to touch. I think this 27 is too much. I think 15 should be okay like this because what we just want it to come outside is just little space that we have at that place. And we can do the same thing too for this down one here. So this one too, let me check. Are we using left for down one two on the mobile? Because whatever value you use on the mobile, you need to override it on the desktop so that it can give you what you want. So this one is this. So we have this card body. So scroll up, we change any, yeah. As you can see, this one did not even have oh, where is it? Okay, this is top of 2 rm. The right is 1 rm. This one is using right, so which means you do not use left with this one because you need to know what to use on the mobile. Whatever you use on the mobile, that's what you just change on the desktop. If not, you just see that the thing is not moving the way you want. So since this one is using right on the mobile, we just need to override that right. Now when it does say zero, it will go to the right will be at the edge. But what we can do here is just to do minus, maybe like 2 rem, or what we can just do here is to use maybe 1.5 rem, but it fits according to what you want there. And I think this 45 is too big, and that 42 should be okay because that space is too much. So what we can do here is a right should just be minus 1 rem is okay. This one should be 40. The space shouldn't be that much. Oh, I've changed this one too. So the browser that will change it. So this one should be around that 10 or 5% should be okay on the user notes. What did I use before? 15. Okay, I used 15. Yeah, so this 15 should be okay. And as you can see, we have this. And if we change the screen, it will change itself too. But all this stuff, we need to balance the stuff like that. And that's the problem with this left. So I don't think this left will give us the correct. I want something like this. You can see that this one did not shift because it's always depending on the right of it. But because this one is depending on the left has changed. So to recalculate that 15%, which is bad now. I don't want the thing to be shifted like this anytime I change the screen. See that this one is always maintaining that particular place because the right is not changing. The only thing that is just changing is the left side, like it's just increasing, but it always go to the right side. But look at this one, it's not jumping anyhow as they are changing the screen, which is not what we want. Even though I change the screen, it should still stick to this side, not that it's using this side to calculate. So this solution we have here will not work. And what do we need to do? What we need to do is that we can remove this left. No, this one we use right, which makes it to stick to the right side. But we want to be calculating the right from the left. And that one can change. So since it can change, it will be jumping around. So what we can do here is just to remove this left that we use for the mobile on set. So whatever that used to be there before, just remove it. We are not even setting it to zero because if you set it to zero, it means it will stick to the side. We don't want anything about left. What we want is the right. So I want the right to be at zero, as you can see. And now if this thing change, it will always stick to that right. If it change, it will always be at the right, no matter what you have there. Like if you are on 768, it will be on the right. If you change it to 1024, it will maintain that right because that right is always the same, no matter what. It's always this is the right side. So they will always maintain that particular value. So the value we use down here too, we can just use it at the top. We want it to be the same thing on the tablet. So what we can just do is to use the same this value there. So go back to the tablet that we're currently working on, and as you can see, it looks nice on it. But if you go to a bigger screen, don't forget the card has increased. Now, when we go to tablets, the card increase, the size of the card increase because if you look at it, the card now is around this 197 when you're on this 1024. But if you go into this 768 or downward, the card is not up to that, and that's why you see that it's squish. You can see that now is 160 because we increase it when we're on a bigger screen. We want the card to get increased too. So, and that's what is always going to be there as long as it is greater than or equal to, as you can see. This one too, you see, it's around this 2, 1, whatever stuff. So the card is getting increased as we are increasing the screen. So we need to make sure that we are, the height has changed. And since the height has changed, we need to adjust the stuff that we're using, which is the top that we're using to calculate. As you can see, As this thing is reducing, once it go less than this thing, it will use this small, even the let me see where it started from. Okay, as you can see at 8 whatever stuff is looking nice, but when it get to this 8 7 stuff started looking somehow. So this is one problem, but another way of solving this, if you don't want to be changing it, because everything you want to do, there's always a different way of solving a particular problem. So the one you want to go with, depending on whether you want to do work or you don't want to work at all. Another way of solving this problem, instead of us positioning this thing as an absolute, what we can just do is to just leave it directly in its parent. Then the parent can now give a gap. So that one now it will not change no matter where or no matter the size of the stuff. So it will always maintain the size. So if you want to solve it in that way, so here now instead of positioning all these cards as absolute, because currently here we are putting them as absolute. As you can see here, it is absolute. So what we can just do is to remove it. So once you remove it like this, or you can just make it as relative so that we can still use left and right to shift it, because now it is static. And once it's static, you cannot use offset property to move it around. It will not work. That's why it just go like that, because I've removed this. But what we can do here is to update. So this is what we can do to make this thing work again. Like, because I don't want anything like once I shift, I don't want to be changing the value myself. Uh, the value that we're using on that 768, just use it, or make sure that everything is by this side. Not that here now. It means you have to keep reducing or increasing your screen to see where the thing is joining or is not joining and all those things. So you can do it by just calculate the stuff based on the card height, and you remove all the necessary stuff. But that's a lot of work to do. And we know that this thing here, they are always at the center of the parent. So as you can see, the space here is the same space here. The thing that is now in between them is a gap. So we can display this red box as a flex, and we change the direction to color. We give the gap that will give us this size of this stuff there. Then they can now be positioned as a relative, because when it is relative, they don't shift from their place. They maintain that place, but you can actually move them with the offset, but they will still maintain that same location. So, and I think that one will solve this problem of changing everything on. I don't even need to change anything again on this. You can see here, don't need to be doing anything with this 1024 once we do it from here directly, instead of us creating another media query to solve it there again. To when it is on a bigger screen, it's still okay. You create another media query, you keep creating media query until everything is balanced, which is waste of time there. Just like the way we did this left one. So instead of us using left to calculate the value of right, we can just use right directly, and everything will be there. And we only do it once. We don't need to be doing it every time we need this thing. So we don't need to start doing all these media queries. So what we can do here is to take this one as flex, which is a parent. Flex direction is going to be column. That should be maybe around that 1.5 rem like this. But yeah, now instead of them to be absolute, what we can do here is to change the position to relative. Relative behave like static, but you can offset it around with this your left, up, right, whatever stuff. And as you can see now, it's going to uh, have whatever we want it to be. So now, what we just need to do is to make sure that it's balanced according to the way. But now there's something that is going on here, so I don't know why it have this too much of a space. So let me check the parent. So we have this paid card wrapper. So we have this, and at the same time we have this one here. So why do we have too much of a space? So let me check flex, because now the way it's putting the items is not arranging it properly. So what we need to do here, so I'm coming, let me check it. Yeah, so there is no problem. The problem there is that we apply the offsets. So all these offset for the top needs to go, because yeah, creating problem. Once we saved, then all this one will comes in. So the other one that is here, so let me check. We need to move everything to center, which is going to be align item center or not. We need to, yeah, so that it can come here. We need to justify because we change the direction. So justify content should be center so that it's going to move everything to the center. I've removed the left and I've removed the, yeah. So the problem there is that look at it on the mobile, we said the height should be 138, whereas it's supposed to cover up the entire box that we have there. So because we don't want the height of this box to just be like that. So let me see which other property do we apply on it. Let me quickly fix everything. So the aside, we do not display it as anything. We need to make sure that we display it as flex. And there is it here. So on the tablet, display it as display the flex. As you can see, it will cover up the stuff like that. But this one that these items is moving down, so which means there is one container somewhere that is going outside of the screen. It's not supposed to go outside like this. Okay. So, and this one I'm using really, normally I'm supposed to use static because this one will just remove all of them. But the problem is that we will not be able to move them the way we want, not there. So we'll not be able to do, as you can see that everything that is inside it are now gone. So static doesn't take care of what is in anything that you display as absolute or other whatever stuff inside it. It doesn't take care of them. So absolute now, since the parent is not relative again, then it will just go outside of the screen, which is what is so. If I just use static here, you can see the content that we position as absolute inside it. They don't know about the parent again. Since they don't know about the parent, they will start using the board, which is not what we want. So we need to use something before what is there is absolute, but we don't want to use absolute. We want the parent to control the movement so that we don't need to start doing it again when we get to desktop. As you can see on desktop, we don't want to do it. So we can just move it anywhere we want based on the flex property. So here we need to return this thing back to reality. But all the offsets that we use on the mobile, we need to make sure that it's not affecting them because if I remove this one, it will go down and if I where is it? Yeah, the top it will go down. And that's the reason why it's now going downward because we said the top should be 90%, which is crazy. So we need to remove it because we don't need it on this screen. Again, to on here we can now move everything to center. We can justify it to be align it to the right hand side because the reason why we're using align and is because we change the direction. So here I can just align and flex end. So flex end, so which means it's going to move everything to the end. And don't forget we've offset this thing by the right. No, by default, if you don't offset it by the right, because we are using right of -1 here. So if you disable all this right of -1, it will just take them to the left. And that means on the mobile too, like somewhere, see that this one is not aligned. Means on the mobile, we are actually changing its the right value. So, but if you put it at 0, you see that it will go to the 0 because we did not put anything like pattern. So they will stick to the edge of the stuff. So there's a pattern there. But let me use around this -1 because that's what we need on the tablet. There is no more space as you can see. It works nice. On the desktop, as you can see that I don't need to do anything. You see that they still maintain that same position. That's why I don't want to use absolute again. If you use absolute, you have to be the one that will now readjust it again here because the thing has changed. But using their parent flex to just move them to the center and give them the gap, you see, to maintain that gap because the gap is using on mobile, that's what it's going to use on desktop. You are using the same value and you did not change it. So whatever I use on this side here, that's what it's still going to use because I said it should be 1 point something. I think it's a 1 point close this main side. So yeah, so this is it here. We have this div, and I think we are using 1.5 as a gap. So something this thing can be 1.5. So somewhere, because let me remove it, so you can see we still have some space here, which is so somewhere we are applying this in again. Where there is one of them that is having top. Maybe let me see the second one. So it's having a top somewhere. Yeah, so you can see it's having a top of 2 rem. So that's why, because this gap here, it can be 1.5. So we need to remove that one too, so that it will be whatever stuff that I set for it. So this last child on the mobile, we use top of 2 rem. We don't want anything like that. Just return it back to zero, or you can do set to just even remove the value at all. So go back to your original. You can see now that it's maintaining that 1.5 gap. So here now I can control it anyhow I want. Whatever gap I put there, that's what it's going to use. So if I use 3, that's the same 3 REM gap that is going to put in between them like that. So, and I think it should be around that. What's this? So it should be around that 1.5 that I used before, because that's the spacing. And if you want now, we can now shift it to the right side a little bit, but I think it's okay like this on tablet. But if you go to this screen, as you can see, we have enough space. The only thing we just need to change is the right. We don't need to touch any other thing like that. So we just need to change their right. You can see that this one is moving towards the right more than this one here. So if this one is using maybe like 3 REM, this one can use 4 REM like that. So we can just apply that. I don't need to do anything from the parent again. The only place I just change is this side. So on this screen here, so what I want to do is to just select this first and the last and then change their right. That's the only thing we just need to touch. So that's why I have to, we change everything and not doing a lot of work. So the other one too will work, but you have to do a lot of changes and you start calculating what you are not supposed to see now. This will start interfering with the recording stuff. So I want to remove something it's doing nonsense. So yeah, this one should be maybe around that 3. This one should be 2.5. I think this one should just be 2.75, and this one should be around that 5. It is not that much. So and then let me remove this line that I put there, so which is coming from here, because that thing is not supposed to be there. And again too, there is a red color. It's just to showcase where the parent is there, so we don't need it. So it should be black so that it uses whatever we have on the container like this. So I think is yeah, let me use 5.5. So and if you go to a bigger screen, as you can see, we have it. So if you want, you can now do it. As you can, I don't need to do that spacing in between them. The only thing I'm just touching is the closeness to the right side. So on 1280 like this, so I just want this one to be 4. This one should be 7 or so, like that. So and I think it's okay. And remove this stuff because my screen is really wide. So as you can see, it still maintain that structure because I'm not using the parent is here, and the parent will always move them to the center. So they are already at the center with this gap that we put there. The only thing we just do is to shift them towards the right hand side and go into the other screen there, it's going to look nice. Whether it because we did not touch mobile, so we work on the mobile already, so nothing will happen on the mobile. But from the tablet upward, it will give us the design so that this thing is not covering our content the way it is before, because that thing is not looking nice like that. So we have this, which is looking like the way we want it to be like that. So the next thing we just need to do now is to make sure that whatever stuff we are typing here, it's showing on the page. So I'm going into the mobile so that I can move this thing to one side and put the code to at the other side so that it can look nice. So let me expand the same mode so that it shifts the UI to the other side, and you can have the code by the side so that we see the two of them at once. So what do we need to do now? Let's create our context that we're going to use to share the input. This is a page on its own, and this is a separate component. They are not together, and you cannot pass them down as props. So what do you need to use? You need to use a state management library, and we had to come with this simple one, which is the context. Because anytime you want to do simple stuff like this, you don't need to start installing external state management like Jota. You don't need to start installing anything like Redux. You don't need to start installing anything like Sustan. Those are the ones that you can use when you are dealing with a bigger project that you have a lot of things, so you can. But with context, with this small project here, it will work. You will not even see any performance issue there like that, because this is just simple application. So let's do it like the way we did it last time. So let's go through the process again. To do this thing, we need to create our context. So we have the page. So we have the page, we have the assets under the source. So apart from this one, we're going to create another folder here, call it context like this. So under this context, I'm going to have the app. So let's call it the app context. You can call it anything you want. So .js, .ts. So inside this place, there are steps that you need to follow when you want to create a context. And the first step is to create the context. When you create the context, you need to create a provider. That's the next step. And again, optional, you can, create the hooks, or let me call it utilities, hooks like this, which is the one that help you to interact with your context. So instead of you importing your context in different file, what you just import is the hooks, and the hooks will now be the one that will add like a bridge in between the context and whatever component that needs anything from the context. So this is what we are going to do. So we have this one. So let's create the context first. So to create the context, we just need to name it. So const app context like this. I want to export it out in case I don't think we actually need it outside. So let me just do it like this. So which is going to be create context. And this create context is coming from React. So like that. So it's going to import it. So once the context is created, the next thing we need to do is to create our provider. But now we need to make this provider available outside, because we need to wrap our application or whatever component that you want it to have access to, everything that is coming from this context. You need to wrap it in a provider. So we're going to export const app provider like this. I'm calling it app provider. So then it's going to receive the children, and from there we just need to return this app context, then dot provider, like that. Provider PP should be capital letter, comma side, provider, then we give it a value. So whatever value you give here, that's what is going to help you to. So we'll just leave it as empty object for now. And any children under it can have access to the stuff like that. So we just render our children out. And what is missing here, I don't like what this thing that is saying here. So let me just disable it. Because it's just validation that we don't need. So I don't need that validation for now. We don't care about that type. So the next thing we need to have is, what are you trying to export out? Like, what are you exporting out? So if you look at our form, what we are actually putting out is the card holder name, the card number, the month, the year, and the CVC. So we can create the state for all these values. So first, I'm just going to do simple stuff. Normally, if I want to do this in your recent, you're supposed to have, supposed to have reducer, which is what we used last time. But since it's just a simple stuff, so we can, or should we use reducer? I think, okay, let's go with this simple one, because how many value are here? One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, really much, because that means we need to, for each one of them, we need to create a function that is going to update each one of them, but we're going to do it in a simple way. So const, what is that? So card holder name. So set card folder name like this, so which is going to be used state, and it's going to be empty text, and whatever you put there, that's what it's going to use to as the default value. So the other one, so const, the other one is card number set card number. So this is going to be use state. This one too is empty string, like that. Even though it's going to be number, but we are saving it as string. So we've done all those validation already. So const month is going to be this, and bring the other one to year is this. And lastly, we have the CVC. Bring it out. So you don't know. So let me type it myself. CVC and set CVC, and it's going to be empty like this. So we need to send everything out. So we have the card holder name, and we have all these things. So anywhere you need to update any of these, you just call them and you have access to it. But we don't want to just keep calling our this thing use context everywhere. So we're going to create our hooks here. So export us use app like that. So we call it use app. And anytime you call this use app, this is going to return use context. You just return everything that is here already for you. Like that. So that's just what did you type? Use context. So like this. So this is what we have there. Export cons where are you? Arrow function like this. So save. So we don't need to start calling this use every time we need it. The only thing that we just call it is use app. So that's why I'm not exporting this context, but you don't need it outside of this place. But we know that you need it, then you can export it out. So what we need to do now is to wrap all our app with this use app here. And why we are going to do that, we just need to go inside our entry uh, components, and the entry component is this one. So what did I click? What are you showing me? So the entry component is this, where we set up our route. So let's close it. So here now what we can do, as you can see, the comment is even here, provide the, so this one is for the router, that's not what I want. So just remove this. Uh, so what's wrong with this? This thing, it's making it start nonsense like this. So we need to wrap everything with this app provider. So again, provider. So which means anything that is inside this provider now have access to our context. So we can call that our use app inside it. So, and where do we need it first? We need it inside, what's the problem? Import failed to pass source was contain invalid GSS syntax. What's that? I cannot save. Why is it giving me this error? It's when you not save that, that's when it used to be that kind of error. Let me reload it again so that I can sure that everything is set up correctly. Okay, yes, you can see it's saving it. Let me see. Use app. Why not return transport cons? So it's complaining about this use app. So where are we? Where is it? So it should be under our. Let me close this one. I don't need it again. So okay, this is it here. Let me close all this one, all this other stuff that I don't need. The home will come back into you. The style we don't need you. The card will come back into you too. For now, let me check what is complaining about that we are not returning. So provide this. We have the crates. We have the app provider. We've already created our this, and we have. Let me stop the server because I don't know what's wrong with it. Because we've not set it up. So let me add it. Let me add it. For some time, this thing will just let me add a JSS. It should keep short of that. Export cons use file really well when you file continually exported. So export cons. Okay, let me export this one as defaults. So that we have one default. Export defaults provider. Chai. So let me go back to where I'm using it because now it's not being exported as that. So this one should complain, supposed to complain. So remove this and we import the stuff. Yeah, just come directly. because we are being exporting it as default one. So saved, reload, and everything should be fine now. So shouldn't have any problem again. All right, so we have this. This one, forget about that one. So this is just use file should share constant function between. I don't want to put this in some file. Let it be here. So what do we need to do? Now we can call this use context. So let's go inside one of them. For example, like this card or the front card, because we need it inside that front card. So let's just call this const and you import whatever you need from it, which is going to be use app. So inside our use app here, they can import whatever we need. What do we need? We need the CVC, we need the card holder name, and we need the card number. Those are the only thing we need here. There's nothing concerned about updating it. The only thing that will update it is here. So it's the form that will update. So we don't need to start importing what we don't need. The only thing we just want to see are these values. And where are they saying located there? So we just need to open it and update them accordingly. Yeah. So this is the month. Oh, I've not imported month. So we need month and we need year. So this is the month. So just put month, and this is the year, like this. So this is the name card. So replace this one. Use everything should be empty now. Once that it is done correctly, card holder name from outside. What's wrong with this thing? So everything should display. And again, to this card holder, where's the CVC? Where's our CV? Oh, the CVC is at the back, so we don't need the CVC here. So we need it for the back card. We don't need it for the front. So the card number, where is it going to? So the card number is going to be here. But don't let me, because I need this value. I'll copy it and go and paste it there. And then like add number like this. So everything should be okay here. Yeah. So save it. And that one now, everything should be empty. Why are they empty? Because inside our context, all these value, they are just empty string. But here now, if I put this one here, it should bring back the number. See, they are now being connected. So any changes you make here, that one will see it and it will display. So if I change this first one and to one, you see that it will pick it up at that place. So, but now the changes will be happening from the form. So when the form updates it, this one will see that you've updated this stuff, it will pick it up instantly. So of course, this is the default stuff. So this one is just going to be card holder like this. That's the default text that is going to be here. And for the month, that's 00. For the year, 00. For the CVC, that one is going to be 00, but we've not used it yet. So let me just put 111 so that I see that it's picking a value from this place. So what did he say? What's the problem? What's wrong with this? So now let's go to the back card. So let's click on that one too. For the back card need the value. So this is going to be const CVC should be use app like this. So where is the app is coming from? Import it. And instead of this value, just put the CVC like this. So save, and it's going to show the value if you have it. What's wrong with this thing? But I change it now to 111. CVC, yes.
Set CVC. Use
No, that one is not easy. Even this is it. This is what I'm calling CVC. This is what I call it, which is here. This is what we. This one, when I want to set it, that's the way I'm going to call it. The way you set it, that's the same way you call it. The naming is coming from you. It's not related to React. If you like, you can just call it underscore. Just that it's not making sense. So React doesn't care the naming. Just that this is convention. It's just a convention. Like the one that set, we start with it set, then followed by whatever the name that you use. It's just a convention. It's not like a must you do it like that. But the value here, I supposed to see it's year. So that's what I will see the problem. Who changed it? What changed this thing? I thought I put this in before. Because here now, we did not call the function. And since we did not call the function, there is one way to keep the value. So as you can see now, it's supposed to be. So the naming is not doesn't care about your naming stuff. Just that you follow that convention so that it's good, like people can read the stuff easily. Like from the name, they already know what is going on. But nothing concerning the program about your naming. So what is after is the actual value that is holding. So now we have all this item. This one too should be 00 by default. So the next thing we need to do now is to connect it to our form. Anytime we type something inside this our form, we want it to appear on this screen. But don't forget, the only time we want it to appear is when the form is valid, like when that particular one is valid. Because I don't want to put something that you're typing here that is not valid into this place. Or if you want, let me see the original design that we're following. It is doing it like that. So let's see how it looks like when it is error. Does it put it there? That's what we are following. Yeah, it's putting it there. So the way you type it here, that's the same way it's appearing here. Whether there is error or no error, it will still show it. So we don't need to do what I just mentioned now because the design is saying we should kind of show it there too, like that. So let's go back into, I don't need to do anything with this back again. That's all. We've connected the stuff that it needs. The same thing with front too. We don't need to do anything. The payment card too, we don't need to do anything. All those one has been connected to the store. So the only thing we need to do is our form too to have a connection to this store. And how do we connect this our React hook form to the store? It actually we've already use this register to connect it to our input, the form states to get whatever the states of our form in case we need that. If there is any error or no error, you get, as you can see, it will give you. And undo submit, this is the one that take everything that you type in the form and do whatever it needs to do. Check the validation if it is okay or it's not okay. If it's okay, it will give you the value. If it's not okay, it doesn't give you the value. The user has to complete all the steps first before your function will receive this undo form here will receive the stuff. So what do we want to do? What we want to do here, we should be able to listen for the changes in the value. Anytime there is a value change here, we want to do something. So anytime there is a change in the value, we want to do something, and this thing still give us a lot of other things that we can use like that. And one of them is this watch. So which is what you can use to watch whatever that is going on the stuff like that. So you give it whatever you want, and it's going to give you value anytime that thing change like that. But we don't call the watch directly like this because you want this thing to listen for the stuff when it changes or it's do. And how do we use it? So let's go to the documentation of the site, which is this, so that you see what is going on there. And I already have it open already. I have it here, but I don't need to, but it will take us to the watch, as you can see. So this method we watch the input and return their value. So as you can see, it is useful to render input value and for determine what whatever stuff are like that. So this function mainly serve two purpose: return and keep sync with the feed value, and start subscribing with giving callback function because that's what we need. Anytime you type something inside the box, we want to watch it. Once that thing change, we want to run a particular stuff. And what do we want to run? We want to sync the value you type to our stuff. Because it's only when you type that you want to run that set whatever stuff you want to. You know that how many value here? We have like five. We have the card holder name, we have the card number. So the one that you change at that particular time, anytime you type something, we want to get that value you type and we save it in our stuff so that all this one can have access to them. And watch can help you with that. As you can see, that's what they mentioned on their side. So subscribing that you are telling this okay, just like the payment, I'm subscribing to your site. So anytime you have program, I want to watch the program. So here too, I'm subscribing to this particular input. Anytime its value change, just tell me that the value has changed so that I can do something with that value. So this is how we can use it. So here, as you can see, you pass the call back into it and it will give you whatever value that you need here. And if you need to unsubscribe, it's return this thing back to you, which is what you can, as you can see, if you want to get the value only, this is what you can do. So watch, you pass the name of the input that you registered into it, and it will only return only that particular one. Anytime that one change, that's the only time it will call this thing or it will update this value for you there. But that's not what I want to do because I don't want to just get the value. I want this thing to run a function anytime that value changes. As you can see, watch some feed, just pass the name you want to watch, and that it will, which is what they use at the top here. But that's not the one I want to use. The one I want to use is this one here. So starting watching with callback function. So this is the one I need. As you can see, this is the way we need to use it like that. So that's why I want to show you on their side. Um, what we need to do is I watch, then it will give us all the value that changes. So whatever value that change, you see them there and you update your state. But don't forget, you don't want this thing to keep watching when you leave that component. You know, when we leave the component, we still don't want it to be watching because it will remain this thing in memory. And if you call back, the old one will be there. It will create another one. And this thing will cause something that is known as memory leak. Memory leak means that this thing you're already doing it somewhere. You're not starting another one again in another place. Like so that one too, if you leave, it means it will now have some extra stuff that you cannot control again, but it's still inside the computer memory. Computer will still be running it, but you don't need them again. And they are not doing something like are using your memory that they don't need to use. That's why it is called memory leak because everything that needs to happen on the computer, it needs to give them a memory, share of the memory for them to be able to carry out the task. But that stuff now, you don't need them again. Those jobs, you don't need them again. You're setting up another one already. So why do we need to still be running them? So that's why we need to unsubscribe. Anytime you leave the component like this, it will just remove the stuff. So this is what we need here. Then this is what we need. And from there, based on the value that changes, it will give us here. And we can now call any of the methods to update the stuff. But we're just going to pass everything directly. So you can't call it like this. If you call it like this, it means you want to set it to a variable. And it will always be changing that variable anytime the value. So you have to pass the name here and you set it to whatever variable that you want. So anytime this thing change, anytime the name that you pass here change, it will update this variable. That's not what we want. You know, we're updating external value, not inside this component. So since we are updating something that is outside of this place, so what we can do here is to use this our use effect. Then the thing will only happen from here because we need to call some function. And what are the function of the stuff we need to call? So we need to call this what was that? So set card holder name. So set card number. So set yeah. So yeah has completed everything because it knows that. So saved and put all this in there. We come back into them, but let's see with the value first so that you know what is going on there anytime the value so that is what is returning back to you. So let's go back into our page. And going back to our page here, let's open the console so that you can see the results. What is it saying? What's the following error doing rendering? Let me reload and see the error again, whether it's the old error or new error. Because any error you have there, you should always fix them. Yeah, I think it's old error. So like that. And this one is unrelated to our application. So let me close them. So now enter the box, type something. Can you see? Anytime your form change, it will fire that watch. We see that it changed something. It will fire the stuff, and once it's fired, it will give you the value that you have. As you can see that the card holder name has changed with the letter, but the other one still remain the same. So what we just need to do is take all of them like this, just pass it directly into all those sets according to what is setting into because this value. So we can just call this one uh, values like this because it's not just one item that is here. Or instead of you doing it like this, you can just destructure the stuff and just extract whatever you need. What are the things we need? We need this card number, CDC, whatever stuff. Look at it. That's what it's sending to us. Card holder name, card number, month, year, and CDC. So and that's what I'm doing here. So instead of me just doing values dot card number, value dot month, and something is missing here. Did not complete this. Where's the card holder name? So now we just need to call each one of the updates that is there. So which is going to be this set card holder name. So here just pass the card holder name like this. So the other one is set cards. I'm arranging it according to this is not a must. Arrange it anyhow you want. So set but in a better sense, You may actually want to check which one has changed, which one has not changed. But for now, don't care about that. Our application is small, so we don't need to start doing all those premature optimization yet. So where is this? So which one is the next one? Okay, expiring that's months. So this is going to be month complete. The other one is AI. So the other one should be, as you can see, this one is crying already because you see that we're using something that is outside of it, and because whatever you're using here that is outside of this effect, you should always add it to the watch dependency. So in case any one of them change us, so set year, what's going on VS Code. This is what person will always do when it's connected to a recording. Set year this is going to be year. Then set CV. See, like I'm calling the way I name the stuff. So the way you name it, that's the same way you call it. I like that. So now if this thing is complaining, so you can just go there, it will bring out the bulb and it will complete it for you. All those ones are missing, or you add all of them because you have to add all these things that you are using. So like that. Or you can click, as you can see, to update anything that is not defined inside UCFS that is coming from outside of it. You should add it to the dependency. That thing is not referencing itself. But if it's something that is outside there and not changing anything, you enter a loop. Because what you are saying is that anytime any of these things change, it needs to run this effect again. Like that. You know, it will not even touch this one because the watch will only run this your callback anytime something change on the page. I like that. So not even do anything that is inside it until I change. And again, we are subscribing from this thing so that we don't have a memory leak in our application here when this thing leave and come back because we don't want to have too much of it. So yeah, everything should start working now with the exception of this stuff that we need to work on. Because if you look at it, the stuff is separated by four. So which means we need to take care of that one here. But for now, let's just do the simple stuff. So clean and yeah, everything wipe off like that. Why does it wipe off? Is because they are empty. So what we need to do is that if it is empty, go to default value. If it's not empty, then type whatever it is. That's why we're still going to do some stuff. But now let me type something here. So let me just type as you can see that it's updating its website. So that's the name. And you know that we can add another one because we have that validation. So again, let's go to card number 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that it's updating the stuff like this. It's supposed to even add max to this thing because now it's actually, yeah, we're the one. We're supposed to add max here. The whatever stuff you want to type here should not be more than that. So what we can just do here is to come to the input. That input actually have that stuff. What we can do here is to give it a max length, which was 19, 16. So it means here that it will not allow you to type more than that. So as you can see, it's not go again like that. But we can't do it for name because we don't know the length of their name. So for this one, we are sure that the number will always be 16 in line. So once we get to that 16, you don't need to type anything again. What is nothing? Don't format. Okay. What's wrong with you? So yeah, 03. Yeah, don't think we've added we've not checked this one. Okay, this one should be 2, 5. But you see that it's actually working. So let's update all this one too. So all the amount line should be 2, 2. So this one, max length, comma side should just be uh, 2 like this. This one I don't need to do it inside. This one, 16. So this one, max length, I mean, should just be, this one too should be 2. And for the CDC, max length should just be 3. So we don't want it to even type more than that. So that it doesn't destroy this our UI. So yeah, as you can see, I can't type more than that. This one too, it's there already. So you can't type more than that. This one too, you can't type more than that. But let's solve the what's the time? Because I don't want these things to be come outside. So let me just add 6 minutes to it. This is 1 hour. So what we can do here, let's quickly do the simple one. Whatever they are typing here, should we allow them to type in small letter or capital letter? Because I don't think it's making sense that the thing is in small letter like this. So we can convert it to capital letter like that. And again, too, we need to use the value by default. We need to use the value that is coming from our context. For example, here now, if I put 111 here like this, I say 111 should appear inside. I think that, no, don't let us do it like that. Network zero like that. So this is what I will just do. Let's fix the problem of when you change one, the other one go to zero because they did not have value. So they did not know what is inside them like that. So what we can do here is that inside that our home where we are doing the updates, we check whether that value is there or not. With that value, use it. If you don't have value, just use something else. So that's why we can use this or. So this is a way of just saying, okay, if it is not there, do something. I don't want to do with the name. Okay, I'll let do with the name too. So by default, just use first. Yeah, just use. If the name is not there, like maybe you clean everything, it will use that default value. The same thing with the number. So let's just use. Let's get the. No, you can't use what it says. Yeah, let me just use this one. So if you don't type anything for it, this is what it's going to use. For months, it's just going to use 00. For year, it's going to use 00. For the CVC, it's going to use 00 like this. So which means this thing is not going to do what it's doing before. So let's just clean it. So you can see when you don't have name, it's go to, but if you have the name, it will use it. If you don't have name, it will go back to default value. The same thing too with all this one. If you type, it will be using the value, or if you remove everything, then it will go back to original. But here we need to make sure that our number two is separating it for. So how do we do that? So how do we do that? How do we do that? See that we started adding a lot of things here. So it would be nice if you have like a all the updating of this value is coming from our hooks. Like we have some method here. So maybe convert the name to uppercase, like convert the first letter of each one of them to as you're typing here, it will do it like this. Even though you type everything in small letter, the first one of it is going to convert them to uppercase. So we need to have a function. So instead of us updating everything directly from here, those changes will just come from here. So here you just call the method. Once you call it, this one will do a lot of magic behind the scene instead of us jam packing the code inside this place here because there's a lot of things already here. So you should always separate things like that. And that's what we're going to do in the mass this in there because this thing shouldn't be more than an hour.